All right, today we're going to do something a little different. We're tearing up the traditional financial rulebook. We're going to dive into a self-made billionaire's playbook for getting rich during a recession. And it's a strategy that tells you to do the exact opposite of pretty much everything you've ever been taught.
So, the big question is, how do you actually get rich when it seems like the whole economy is falling apart? Well, according to Grant Cardone, the path to wealth during a downturn starts by breaking almost every single conventional rule you've ever learned about money. It's all about thinking differently when everyone else is starting to panic.
All right, so what's the mindset that actually powers a strategy like this? Before we jump into the rules, you gotta understand the journey, right? This isn't just some theory. This is a playbook that was forged by someone who went from absolute rock bottom to building a multi-billion-dollar real estate empire. Now, what's really wild about this, when you look at it, is where he started. I mean, at 25 years old, that's a terrible spot to be in. 40 grand in debt and fresh out of rehab. He had zero safety net. And it was that desperation that forced him to make a really radical decision. Sacrifice all comfort, work relentlessly to make more money, and put every single dollar to work. That one decision became the foundation for everything that came after. Okay, so the very first piece of conventional wisdom that Cardone just completely throws out the window, it's something we're all taught from day one, that saving your money is the safe, smart path to wealth. He says, nope, that's actually the path to staying broke. Yeah, cash is trash. This is probably one of his most famous, and for sure his most controversial statements. The idea is pretty simple. Money just sitting there in a bank account isn't just doing nothing. It's a guaranteed losing strategy. It's actively making you poor every single day. And this slide right here shows you exactly why. I mean, think about it. You put your money in the bank, right? You get this tiny, tiny interest rate. But what does the bank do? They turn around and lend your money out to other people for huge profits. In that equation, you're the one taking all the risk of your money losing value, while the bank is the one reaping all the rewards. And this is the real killer. It's inflation. It's like this silent thief that just eats away your money's value. That $100 bill in your savings account today, it's going to buy you fewer groceries next year, and even less the year after that. And that right there is why he calls cash trash. Okay, so if saving cash is trap number one, what's trap number two? Well, Cardone argues it's the American dream itself, owning your own home. He doesn't see it as a dream at all, but as a financial trap that's designed to keep you working forever. He really believes that this whole system, get a good job, qualify for a 30-year mortgage, it's all designed to lock you into decades of just working, not building wealth. And to get this, you have to understand his critical distinction between two very different kinds of debt. And the difference is super simple. It's this. Does the debt put money into your pocket, or does it take money out? A mortgage on the house you live in, that's taking money out every single month. But debt on a rental property, where the tenant's rent covers the mortgage and you're left with profit, see, that's good debt. That's an asset. I mean, just think about it for a second. With a rental property, the tenant's rent covers all those expenses. But with your own home, who pays for everything? You do. The property taxes, the new roof, the water heater that breaks at 2 a.m., it's just a constant drain on your cash. That money is just gone. Okay, so if we're not saving cash and we're not buying a house to live in, what in the world are we supposed to do? Well, it all comes down to one thing: building a cash flow machine.
This quote right here, this is the absolute core of the entire playbook. The money you earn from your job, it's not for spending on a nicer car or a bigger TV. You got to think of it like seed money. Its only job is to be planted into assets that will grow and spit out more money for you month after month.
And just look at this formula. It's so simple, but man, does it require some serious discipline. Step one, you work like crazy. Get a side hustle, whatever it takes to maximize your income. Step two, instead of upgrading your lifestyle, you invest every single spare dollar into things that pay you. And then step three, this is the magic part. Only when those assets are spitting out enough passive income do you use that profit to live on. See the difference? You're living on the returns, not on your own labor.
So where do you put this money? Well, for Cardone, it's all about tangible assets you can actually control. So rental real estate, that's his number one. You get predictable cash flow, huge tax advantages. But stocks and funds, he avoids them, calls them paper assets, basically a Wall Street trap. And crypto? Forget about it. To him, that's pure gambling because it doesn't generate any cash flow.
And this number, this is so important because it's where it all began. $3,000. That's it. That was the down payment he managed to scrape together for his very first rental property. It wasn't millions. He got in the game with just $3,000.
And this is where that first little step eventually led. Today, we're talking over 12,000 cash-flowing apartment units. This just proves it's not about one lucky deal, right? It's a scalable strategy that he just did over and over and over again.
Okay, so that brings us right up to today. And this is where it gets really interesting. Because Cardone believes that the economic conditions right now are creating this massive, once-in-a-generation opportunity for people who are actually prepared.
And why is that? It's pretty simple. Interest rates. As they climb, mortgage payments are just becoming unaffordable for millions of people. He predicts that what used to be, say, a $2,000 a month mortgage could easily become a $2,800 payment. That's going to force a lot of homeowners to sell and become renters instead.
And that economic pressure, it creates a perfect storm, as buying a home becomes basically a mathematical impossibility for a huge chunk of the population. What happens? The demand for rental units is going to absolutely explode, and that creates an incredible opportunity for investors who own the one thing people will always need, a place to live.
And his final piece of advice? It's blunt for sure. It's a straight-up call to action. His belief is that in a world with this much opportunity, staying poor isn't really a condition anymore. It's a choice rooted in just not doing anything. The key, in his mind, is to stop making excuses, work your butt off, and put your money to work.
And really, that's the whole playbook. It's about rejecting all the advice that keeps people trapped and instead just focusing relentlessly on one single thing, acquiring assets that produce cash flow. So, the strategy's been laid out. Now the question on the screen, that's for you. The next move is yours.